Hello there, this is Josh Oakes from MediaLeaders.com. I'm excited in this video to introduce to everyone Kyra Reed, the digital strategy and social branding person at Adler Integrated. Kyra, welcome to the video call.
Thank you so much, Josh. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm really excited to have you at one of our future upcoming events on July 16th. If that event has already happened, to those that are watching this video, you can visit MediaLeaders.com or use the links below this video to learn more about us. We're going to keep this really short. I've got 6 questions to ask Kyra that I've given her ahead of time, and we're going to start with question number 1 real quick. What is the service that your company provides to your clients?
We provide what we call digital marketing architecture, and underneath that there are multiple services that include social media strategy, SEO, web design, consultations, anything really that has to do with marketing within the digital space. And Adler Integrated puts a social lens on all of it. So we look at really helping to socialize a company through their digital marketing.
Very cool. I like that social lens. Number 2, do you think that your story or your company's story is unique compared to competitors? And if so, what is that uniqueness?
We have an incredibly unique story, especially compared to our competitors. Adler Integrated is a company that has come together as a result of individual companies working together to revitalize the Sunset Strip. About 7 years ago, I started working with a client, the Roxy Theater, and the owner of the Roxy, Nick Adler. And at the time, the Roxy was, and the whole of the Sunset Strip was just kind of the has-been graveyard of time gone by in Los Angeles. And we were faced with not only revitalizing this 38-year-old club, but also bringing life back to the Sunset Strip as a whole. And the only tools that we had were social media and this concept of community. So what we did is we ended up creating relationships with the director of marketing at Comedy Store and the director of marketing at the Viper Room, a journalist who was the first journalist to ever write about our story, and the woman who does social media or did social media for the Roxy. We all started working together very loosely with the intention that, if we all come together to use our social media audiences to leverage a larger conversation about the Sunset Strip, that we would be able to bring people to the Strip and start to bring life back to it. And that's exactly what we did. So we worked together in this capacity for about 2 years. And then as time went on, we started to, have really great events and realize what smart people we all were from different perspectives. And almost 2 years ago now, we decided to come together and start our own agency. So we were born out of working together and having such deep respect and admiration for each other's unique takes on the social landscape, and realizing that together we created a whole experience. And now we have an office on the Sunset Strip, and we provide our clients with a very unique way of looking at their digital marketing and especially their social media, because it's something that we have had the experience from building from the absolute ground up at a time when it was still the wild, wild west. And with our intention of saving our own individual businesses with social media and then creating community, of course, none of which any of us were getting paid to do. It wasn't something we'd been hired to do. It was something we had to do to save our own businesses. And so out of that was born this idea that, we really all should work together, because this is what we're all very passionate about. And because of the fact that we've been on those front lines and we know what it's like to run up against opposition, we know what it's like to not have time to do these things, we know what it's like to take the biggest mountain you could possibly imagine and say, this needs to be redone. How are you going to do it?
How do you get the chance to share that awesome story with prospects?
Well, a lot of times people come to us knowing about what we've done. One of the things that we were able to do all along was we've been crafting this story since day one. That's my specialty. I am a storyteller. And so I've been collecting all of our experiences, and we've gotten a tremendous amount of press coverage. We've been featured in Entrepreneur, TechCrunch, New York Times, Mashable, NPR. So people hear about the story, and especially when it comes to music and music venues, the Roxy is the #1 music venue in social media and has been since day one. So we get a lot of attention from that. And, you know, when people come and sit down and meet with us, it's very obvious that we are a collection of great brains just by sitting down and talking with us. And generally when someone comes in and meets the company for the first time, if they didn't come in through word of mouth, then we pretty much give them the short summary of our story as soon as they sit down with us. It's kind of, you know, this is who we are, what we do.
Very cool. What's the biggest deal or project that your story has helped you achieve?
That's a good question. I think that probably, aside from the story evolving into actually creating our own business together, in terms of the clients that we've had, we've worked with Staples Center and Nokia. We just helped launch Rod Stewart's album. We just helped launch the Cheech and Chong film. And I think our biggest projects are the ones that I can't talk about right now, that we're actually in the works. Every month we seem to kind of draw in a bigger client and with a much more challenging project. But I really think that the biggest deal that we've had so far is really us, is creating Adler Integrated out of the work that we've been doing together for the last 5 years.
Very cool. What's the biggest learning experience that's helped you to craft your story?
The biggest learning experience that has helped us craft our story is, you know, there's a video that was done, Derek Sivers did a TED Talk, and it was called The First Follower. And it's about this guy, and I'm sure many of you guys have seen this. It was I think it was at High Seas, no, it was at Sasquatch. And there's this guy dancing, just kind of letting it all go. And everyone around him is just kind of looking at him as they walk by, and then one person decides to join him. And then another person decides to join that guy. And by the end of the video, there are people running and jumping over each other to become a part of this huge dance party. And for us, when we saw that video, it was like, this speaks to everything that we have learned in the last, well, let's see, we started doing this at the Roxy 7 or 8 years ago. And when we started when I started working with the Roxy, we were the very first music venue in the entire world to take down our website and put up a blog. We were the first music venue on Facebook, first music venue on Twitter. And when we started doing all of these things, it was at a time when nobody really understood what Twitter was. Facebook had just opened their doors to the public. And people would say to me, well, that's really lame what you guys are doing. How are you ever going to get anywhere on doing that? A blog for your website? Come on, that's lame. And we got this kind of criticism constantly. We opened our doors. We said, we want to hear from the public. We are here to help you. We are here to serve you. How can we serve you better? And the amount of criticism and ridicule that we got when we started this project was unbelievable. And then we moved it out to the Sunset Strip, and even there we got a lot of opposition from merchants who we're trying to help revitalize the whole strip. That means everyone along the way is also going to be affected, but we got so much resistance. But we didn't give up, and we kept pushing forward. Didn't realize that concept of the first follower. Whenever you create change, there has to be a leader, and the leader is always going to come against opposition. You have to keep going. That's the quality of a leader. You keep going, and eventually you will find somebody who will follow you, and then you'll find another one, and then you'll find another one, and before you know it, it's now the story. And so there's now, when you talk about the Sunset Strip and you interview different merchants on the Strip, it's a completely different place than it was when we started this project years ago. And most people don't even remember the old days now. Now they only remember the new Sunset Strip. So that was a direct result of us working really hard and not giving up despite opposition. And I think that is over and over again, whether it was the Roxy or the Sunset Strip or clients. I'm working with Main Street now in Santa Monica to do the same thing that we did with the Sunset Strip. And there is opposition left and right, but if we just keep going and we just keep pushing through that and believe in what we have, it will turn. And after 6 months of working with Main Street, I get, one day I get opposition and feel like I've hit a brick wall, and then the next day something amazing happens that validates everything we've been doing. So that just being a leader and never giving up is the biggest lesson that we've learned that has helped us to craft our story, because that's what it is at every point along the way. Here's the opposition, here's how we stuck to it, and here was the final result.
I love it. That's great. Well, the last question I have for you is, what's one tactical tip that helps you be successful at your agency?
At my agency, what we do as a whole is we review what we do on a regular basis. So yesterday we had our weekly staff meeting, and I'd say probably once every 3 months we allow ourselves to take the entire day to discuss our branding, our positioning, where we're at with our clients, and where we want to be in 6 months. And we have, I wouldn't call it a real pivot. I mean, that word seems to be being thrown around all over the place these days. But rather it's a refinement. It's a shift in, okay, we've been doing this, we tried that, we don't like it, we do like it. These are the results of the feedback from our clients. This is how people are feeling about our proposals. And we go through everything we've experienced in that way, and we refine it. We shift it. We find out a little bit more about who we are. We find a little bit more about what the landscape of the current market is. I think it's really critical in being in marketing and social, because it's constantly changing. You cannot rest on your laurels and say, well, this is how it was 6 months ago, so this is how it's going to be for the next year. And I think if you aren't constantly refining your story and refining how you present yourself and what it is, and not just how you present yourself, but who is it you want to be today, then you will get stuck, you will get pigeonholed, and you will get left behind. And most especially for companies that are dealing in technology or marketing or anything where there is a constant tide of change. And even when, it's a more static product or company, it's to always be looking at the heart and soul of your company for what do you really want. Who do you really want to be? Because the public will keep up with changes. That's who and what we are as a society now. Things change constantly, and that's what we're becoming more comfortable with. So that's something that's really important to us, is to not change our authentically who we are. Suddenly wake up one day and try to be someone entirely different. But always refining who we are, always growing, because as people we're always growing. So people are businesses, so that means that both always need to be growing. It's a much more, I think, authentic way to lead your business than to try and say that this is the definitive way that it is for now and forever.
That's great. Hey, I want to thank you for answering our questions. I'm excited to see you at this next event. Everybody that watched this video, you can connect with us on MediaLeaders.com or click the links below. Kyra, thank you so much for being a part of this.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
I'll see you soon at the event. Have a great day, everybody.